July 15, 2025. Hundreds of U.S. Navy SEALs storm the largest drug-producing ship in human history. They are armed to the teeth, moving in complete silence. Their target, a heavily armored ship that produces more than $4 billion worth of drugs a month, guarded by 300 mercenaries and hidden deep in international waters. But this is more than just a cartel ship. It's a floating prison. More than 500 civilians are trapped inside, many kidnapped or trafficked, including 160 American citizens. For years, no one has been able to touch it. Every previous mission has failed. Every approach has resulted in civilians being used as human shields. Until now, when 30 underwater drones jammed the defense radar system and 100 drones above provided support, 10 submarines carrying 300 SEALs engaged in combat, the sea burst into flames, smoke and steel. And in just 9 minutes and 32 seconds, the impossible happened. So, who is the dark drug lord behind it all? And what happened to the 500 people on that ship? Let's find out together. July 15, 2025. In the heart of international waters, beyond the reach of any sovereign nation, a monstrous ship sails under no flag. It's not just a drug lab. It's a floating empire of terror. At its helm is Raul El Sombra Valdez, a former cartel lieutenant-turned-maritime drug lord. Ruthless, cunning, and untraceable, Valdez created a vessel that law enforcement quietly dubbed the Ghost Ship. Measuring over 300 feet in length and armored like a warship, the vessel houses a mobile superpearl capable of producing over $4 billion worth of methamphetamine and fentanyl every month. Inside, 500 civilians, including 160 U.S. citizens, are held against their will. Some were kidnapped, others were trafficked or lured with false promises and crushed by debt. They now serve as forced labor, working 14-hour shifts under armed guard. The screams from below deck are rarely heard except by the ghosts who never leave. To protect his drug empire, Valdez employs over 300 heavily armed mercenaries, former special forces from Eastern Europe, Central America, and even rogue private contractors from the Middle East. These soldiers of fortune are equipped with anti-aircraft guns, shoulder-fired missiles, jamming systems, and AI-assisted drones. Any attempt to intercept the ship is repelled with brutal force. U.S. forces have located the vessel 3 times in the last 2 years. Each time, precision strikes were aborted because Valdez deployed innocent civilians as human shields. Drone footage captured children being marched to the upper deck just seconds before an American missile strike. Faced with the impossible choice between stopping a criminal empire and risking civilian lives, U.S. forces withdrew. The ship became legendary among Navy intelligence. An untouchable target that mocked the world's most powerful military. It was invisible, it was invincible, and worst of all, it was getting bolder. Now it moves without patterns, changes course daily, and disables identification systems. No satellite could track it for long. No drone could hover near it without being shot down. This was not just a criminal operation. It was a declaration of war against the rule of law at sea. And for almost 2 years, the ghost ship kept escaping, but it couldn't stay hidden forever. So, let's see how America found it. And let me know if you have any good ways to find it. At exactly 01:05 a.m. UTC, a U.S. Navy P-8A Poseidon reconnaissance aircraft patrolling over the eastern Pacific detected something unusual. An infrared signature over 300 feet long, moving slowly, across open waters. The heat distribution patterns matched one chilling profile. The floating drug superlab last seen 11 months earlier. The ship was cloaked, its transponder off, its electronic emissions nearly silent, but it couldn't hide its industrial heart. Deep within the hull, chemical reactors burning non-stop to cook synthetic opioids left a thermal fingerprint that satellites couldn't forget. The pilot immediately flagged the signal to Task Force Trident, a joint Navy JOC operations unit based in San Diego. Within 11 minutes, the thermal imagery and positional metadata had reached a secure Pentagon server. The match came back 97.6% confirmed. There was no doubt the ghost ship had returned. Inside the National Military Command Center, a red level alert was triggered. Dozens of analysts scrambled to verify the find. This was no ordinary vessel. This was a $48 billion global threat responsible for poisoning thousands of Americans monthly and holding 160 U.S. citizens hostage offshore. President Donald J. Trump, who had been briefed weeks prior about the elusive vessel, was immediately notified. Within minutes, he convened a restricted emergency session inside the Situation Room. Present were the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, the NSA director, and JC Commander, Admiral Blake Harrington. This time, there would be no retreat. At 0211 a.m., President Trump signed a direct action authorization. Execute Silent Storm. The plan was unlike anything seen before. Not a missile strike, not a standard boarding. Instead, 30 Ghost Shark II unmanned submarines, each the size of a mini coffin, armed not with warheads, but with frequency jammers and pulse disruptors, would be launched in all directions, swarming the ship like invisible sharks. The goal: blind its radar, kill its comms, disorient its guards, and then from the depths, the real fangs would rise. 10 Virginia-class attack submarines carrying 300 SEALs trained for stealth speed and silent takedowns. For the first time in 2 years, America had its shot. The ghost ship would not vanish again. Before the siege begins, support us by liking and subscribing to the channel. At 0216 a.m. local time, under cover of darkness and total radio silence, 30 Ghost Shark II unmanned submarines slipped into the water from 3 separate Navy vessels in the Pacific. Each was pre-programmed with a single purpose: to blind the ghost ship's radar and communications without setting off alarms. Operating just 12 feet below the surface, these drones activated an overlapping electronic warfare grid. By 0223 a.m., a shimmering dome of signal disruption encased the target from every angle. For the first time in over a year, the ship's sophisticated early warning systems went dark. Inside the vessel, guards remained unaware. Their radar screens flickered once, then stabilized. No alarms, no sirens, just silence. That was the moment America struck. From 200 meters below, 10 Virginia-class attack submarines silently broke formation. One by one, they surfaced within a 0.5-mile radius of the target. Each vessel deployed SEAL teams of 30 divided into 5 squads: breach, command control, lab suppression, hostage recovery, and overwatch. Simultaneously, the skies above came alive. 100 Phantom silent UAVs engineered for stealth insertion approached from all directions. These drones were equipped with precision microcharges, just enough to neutralize a human target without harming anyone nearby. At 0231 a.m., the first wave struck. 12 drones dove vertically, hitting the forward and aft towers. The explosions were surgical enough to eliminate all 38 outer perimeter guards in under 47 seconds without damaging the hull or alerting the bridge. Onboard chaos erupted, scrambled, firing blindly into the sky. But their radar was dead. Their optics jammed, their comms silent. They didn't realize it, but they were shooting at ghosts. Meanwhile, second wave UAVs executed Phase 2 distraction. Instead of attacking, they hovered around the bridge and crew quarters, drawing attention upward while SEAL teams ascended the hull from underwater, cutting through maintenance hatches and vent ports. It was the perfect symphony of misdirection. As UAVs hovered menacingly, but withheld fire, SEALs quietly breached 5 key compartments from below deck. Not a single alarm was triggered. No civilian saw them coming. In just 5 minutes and 12 seconds, America had seized full outer control of the vessel without a single shot fired from the SEALs. The ghost ship's illusion of invincibility was unraveling one silent second at a time. By 0236 a.m., the outer deck of the ghost ship lay in eerie silence. The mercenaries, disoriented by the electronic blackout and false UAV threats, had fallen into disarray. But inside the steel behemoth, chaos was only just beginning. 5 SEAL teams, having infiltrated through maintenance shafts and ballast vents, launched a synchronized assault across the ship's 5 most critical sectors. Team Alpha moved toward the bridge. Inside, 16 elite mercenaries held the command deck, armed with laser-guided rifles and infrared headsets. But the SEALs didn't charge. They used suppressed MP7-ins and stun grenades, disorienting the guards before breaching through the ceiling panel. All 16 were neutralized in under 42 seconds. Team Bravo hit the weapons bay where the cartel had stockpiled over 200 rifles, RPGs, and anti-air missiles. The room was rigged for detonation. One wrong step and the entire vessel could have gone up in flames. The SEALs used fiber optic scopes under the door to identify 4 booby traps, disabled them, then entered with lethal precision. 9 MKs were killed. 0 American casualties. Team Charlie, the most crucial, stormed the lower deck where over 500 civilians were locked behind reinforced steel cages. Guards were using civilians as human shields, but the SEALs didn't shoot. They used flashbangs, night vision, and hand-to-hand combat. In a scene captured by drone footage, a SEAL took down 3 guards using only a combat knife in silence. Not a single hostage was harmed. Team Delta breached the main drug lab. What they found was staggering. 12 full-scale synthesis reactors, each producing over 2,000 pounds of fentanyl per week. Armed guards stood in a circle. The SEALs dropped gas canisters through a vent, stormed in through the floor, and incapacitated the entire team in under 28 seconds. And finally, Team Echo reached the private quarters of Raul Valdez. The drug lord was already preparing to escape through a hidden compartment beneath the engine room, but his biometric lock failed, delaying him just long enough. The SEALs crashed in, flashbangs detonated, and within seconds, the most wanted drug kingpin in the Western Hemisphere was pinned to the floor, alive, but paralyzed by fear. Total mission time from breach to capture, 9 minutes and 32 seconds. Every mercenary was killed or captured, not one civilian injured. The ship of nightmares had finally been brought to its knees. By 2:45 a.m., the last echo of gunfire faded into the Black Pacific. The ghost ship, once a floating fortress shielded by lies, mercenaries, and human suffering, was under full U.S. control. 500 civilians were escorted from the lower decks, many in tears, some barely able to walk. Among them were 160 American citizens, including a retired firefighter from Houston, a single mother from Detroit, and a teenage boy from San Diego who had been missing for 8 months. Most had been enslaved for over 180 days, forced to process deadly narcotics while enduring malnutrition, sleep deprivation, and abuse. Medical crews from the USS Arlington, a nearby amphibious transport ship, boarded the vessel within 17 minutes of the final clearance. Portable triage tents were erected on the deck. Dozens of hostages were treated for dehydration, chemical burns, and psychological trauma. No fatalities, no friendly fire, not a single hostage harmed. As dawn broke, Navy EOD teams began cataloging what the cartel had left behind. 12 active fentanyl reactors still running. Over 6 tons of precursor chemicals valued at $1.4 billion. 300 weapons including US-made rifles and encrypted comms gear traced to Eastern European black markets. 5 encrypted hard drives containing cartel logistics, shipping routes, and a list of over 70 corrupt officials across multiple countries. But the prize was Raul El Sombra Valdez himself. Handcuffed, hooded, and flanked by SEAL team operators, the infamous drug kingpin was airlifted from the deck at 0413 a.m. aboard a blacked-out MH-60 Seahawk. He was flown directly to an undisclosed facility on U.S. soil. His face, once plastered across Interpol's Red Notice list, would soon face a federal court. Later that morning, the Pentagon issued a brief statement. The United States will not tolerate floating factories of death. No ocean is too wide. No criminal too hidden. What wasn't said, but silently understood was clear. America just executed one of the most complex maritime rescue and interdiction missions in modern history. A $48 billion criminal empire destroyed, 500 innocent lives saved, and not a single SEAL lost. For the first time in 2 years, the ocean was quiet and the ghost ship was gone forever. In the stillness after the storm, the United States sent a message louder than any explosion. Justice has no borders. This mission was not just a triumph of military precision. It was a reminder of our core values. We do not trade civilian lives for quick victories. We do not look away when Americans are enslaved on foreign waters. And we do not forget our people, no matter how far they've been taken. For the 160 American citizens rescued, this wasn't just a return home. It was proof that their country never gave up on them. For their families, it reaffirmed a sacred truth. America protects its own. But this operation also carries powerful lessons. It reminds us of the unseen battles our military fights, not for headlines, but for humanity. It shows the importance of unwavering resolve in the face of evil masked behind complexity. And it warns us that the drug crisis isn't just at our border. It's offshore, mobile, and more ruthless than ever. In just 9 minutes and 32 seconds, America dismantled a $48 billion empire without losing a single life. But behind that number is a truth we must all carry. Freedom requires vigilance. Justice demands courage, and silence in the face of evil is never an option. The ocean may be vast, but America's reach is deeper. If you believe these stories must be told, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to support the channel.